All right, guys, I am testing something new out. I'm testing out our this new camera that I have set up. So let me just see how it looks for all you. Oh wow, it's on delay. Okay, I am gonna have to shut this off. I'm gonna go ahead and start the live chat. I wish I had a camera view that was open to see what exactly you guys are seeing now. Because it is on delay. This is so weird um, because I don't have a screen in which I'm actually able to see you guys and see your guys' comments. But hey, everybody, Marcos Villegas. Welcome to this Fight Up TV live chat that we're doing right now, and what I'm trying to figure out right now on this camera. Um, Give me 1 second, guys. Just making sure that everything's okay on this live chat for you guys. So just bear with me. Give me a second. Just wanting to make sure
You
that
guys. So
everything's
just bear
good.
with me. Give me a
Okay,
second.
that's correct. Just if you guys are coming in, welcome everybody to our live chat. And just wanted to do a live Q&A with all of you guys. Let me go to the live stream page. Go to the live stream page. I hope this isn't private. Oh, wow. Okay, that's why no one's on here. Let me change one thing. Oh, wow. Okay, that's why no one's on here. Let me. Okay. So here we go. Now we're public now. That was dumb of me. So here we go. Now we're public now. Okay. Waiting for this to go through. Might have to go ahead and start a new chat, guys, cause this to go through. Might have to go ahead and start a new chat, guys. Sorry. Sorry. All right. So this is all still very new, using this new option on YouTube here. So this is all still very new, using this new option on YouTube here. Everything's like on delay. Getting the new camera set up. Everything's like on delay. Getting the new camera set up. So it's a little bit difficult. Sorry, guys. I apologize. Just trying to get the hang of this and see what you guys are seeing. I'm seeing that it's around 720, but the camera's not on widescreen. You know what? I might have to change the event and go on a mobile live stream, because this is not really working to what I wanted it to work, to be honest. Like I said, testing this thing out, and just seeing how it works. Let's see. Just got to do a few things, guys. Bear with me. I apologize. Hello from Germany, Rob. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And I wish I could actually see myself. John B, what up, fam? How's it going? Good to see you, my man. Thanks for tuning in. And I guess this is kind of working. So we're doing something a little bit different process. Usually with these live chats, I go ahead and use my mobile camera on my phone. But this time I got a webcam because I wanted to. I have a really cool idea that I want to do for you guys in terms of doing a live streaming that I'm not going to reveal what I want to do with it, but it's something I'm still trying to figure it out, and I've been having a little bit of difficulties because a lot of these software associated with these webcams only work with PC very well and not with Mac. And obviously, I run off of a Mac, so it's a headache. It's a headache getting to know all this. Thanks, John B. Really appreciate it, my man. Really appreciate it. Usually we have a lot more people on these live chats. I wonder what the problem is if the event didn't go through for you guys, and if you're not receiving the notification that we are live right now. Also, let me know, guys. I want to know if this thing's working, so let me know how the video looks, if you're getting it in HD. I have an option right now that it should be streaming at least in 720, though I have the bitrate set up to stream at 1080p. Let me know how the audio is as well, if you guys are getting any glitches or any lags. Like I said, this is a new thing that I'm doing with new software, a new camera, completely different than what I do before with my phone, you know. So, and it's kind of weird because I'm talking to you guys, but I'm like on a 5-second delay, so I'm seeing your guys' questions right away, and then I'm seeing me like 5 seconds backwards in time, so it's a little strange. James Braw, what's up, man? What do you think of fighters boxing once a year? You know, I think a fighter should be active. I think they should be fighting multiple times a year because that's how they stay sharp, obviously. You only see, you know, certain people when they reach a certain level that they only do fight once or twice a year. And historically speaking, those have been when you get to the pay-per-view star caliber fighters. Like in the past, Oscar De La Hoya would only fight twice a year. Floyd Mayweather would only fight twice a year. So even then, with those guys, they were fighting more than once. They were fighting twice a year. So the current crop of fighters that they're only fighting once a year is because there's not enough, I guess, dates in order to keep them busy. And obviously, if you're a fighter, you have to fight. That's how you make a living. And if you're not fighting, you're only getting one payday outside of your sponsorship. So these guys want to fight, and they want to fight as much as often because that's how they make a living. Imagine you have a job, a gig, and you only work 3 months out of the year for that gig. You know, obviously you're going to want more gigs to be able to go ahead and work more and make more money. And even though that one gig is going to pay you a lot, you obviously want to make more. So that's the situation that I think a lot of fighters are finding themselves in. Is there's not a lot of dates. They're not using, you know, as many networks as they were before. And I think we're seeing this problem more on the PBC side. And it's not really a problem, just a situation where you just can't get them active because of the dates and the networks. And we're only seeing PBC shows at this time on Showtime and FS1. And yeah, it's really interesting to see what's going to happen with the Danny Jacobs situation. And who else is going to go ahead and fall ship and follow that and see what kind of precedent that does in terms of these other guys. Because a majority of the PBC fighters, they're promoterless. They're independent contractors. They still have Al Heyman as their manager, but they're independent contractors. They don't have promoters. So it's interesting to see now with Daniel Jacobs doing this, where they're going to end up and how they navigate that kind of gray area, because they're independent contractors, they're independent of promoters, but they go and they show up on these proxy promoters that are located throughout the country that are affiliated with PBC. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen in the next 6 months, next 8 months in terms of what Jacobs did with signing with HBO and Eddie Hearn. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying here on the live chat. Mo Ash, I'm giving you a shout out, man. The way you break fights, especially GG vs. Canelo. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. John B. Let's see. They should fight 3 times if they're young and healthy, but not hurt from the previous bout. Yeah, well, usually, you know, if you're a young prospect, you fight a lot more than 3 times a year if you're a young prospect coming up. If you're young and healthy, yeah, usually the norm is to fight 2 to 3 times a year. If you come out of your fight healthy, unscathed, and injury-free. Moash, my bad. I was meant to say Keith Thurman should fight more often than just once. Well, Keith Thurman just got married, and he was nursing an injury too from the Garcia fight as well. So that's why he was out for a little bit longer. What do you think? Who do you think Keith Thurman will fight in January? Well, his mandatory is Sean Porter, and it was WBC mandated. I know Sean Porter has a fight with Adrian Granados, which is, man, Granados just can't catch a break. That guy's been through the ringer in terms of fights, like tough fight after tough fight after tough fight. Jeez, man, talk about a hard schedule. You're going from, the Broner fight, in which many people thought that he won the fight. It was a good showing from him. And then he goes into the Sean Porter fight, having to move up a weight class to fight someone like Sean Porter. And Sean Porter, that's like the type of fighter Sean Porter is, with the type of style. You absolutely know when you fight a Sean Porter, you're going to have a hard night's worth of work when you fight someone like that. It's going to be a fight that pushes your limits both physically and mentally because of that relentless pressure that Sean Porter puts on you. It's a crazy amount of pressure. He's just touching you all over, from the head, shoulders, arms, bodies, nonstop. On top of that, he's so close to you. He's using his weight and his strength against you. He's wrestling with you as well. That's just such a tough fight if you're fighting a Sean Porter. It's, geez. So he just can't catch a break. The poor guy, hard fight after hard fight. But that is Thurman's mandatory, is Sean Porter. So I would say if he wins the fight, the next fight for Thurman's going to be Sean Porter, though I know a lot of people are pushing for that Errol Spence fight. I heard Errol Spence was supposed to fight by the end of the year, but I don't know what's going on with that. So as I read more of your guys' questions here on the live chat, if you guys are just tuning in, welcome. Hi, I'm Marcos. Do one thing for me real quick. Go on your phones, all right? And go ahead and add us on social media. Here at Fight Hub TV. Here you go. I'm going to show you our account right here. At Fight Hub TV. Go ahead and add us now at Fight Hub TV, all right? Do us a favor. At Fight Hub TV. Instagram, Twitter. And then after that, go to my account. Add me too. At Hey, it's Marcos V. I don't know if you can see it. At Hey, it's Marcos V. Give me a follow as well. Back to your guys' fan questions though. And it's a trippy thing because I'm seeing everything delayed like 5 seconds. It's really weird because with the mobile live streams, I'm able to hear myself in real time and talk to you guys in real time. So it's kind of strange with the live stream stuff. Okay, back to your guys' questions here on the live chat. Feel free to go ahead and send us questions, and I'll go ahead and answer them for you guys. Let's see here. Luciano Mayweather. Hello. Hi. Good to see you, man. Paul Minois. Am I pronouncing that right, Paul? Is it Minois or is it Mignote? I think it's Minois, like Chris Benoit. More MMA, less boxing. Boxing is silly. Nah, man, I like both. I just like combat sports in general, to be honest. A good fight's a good fight. I appreciate a good scrap, whether if it's in MMA, in boxing, in kickboxing, sumo. I actually enjoy watching sumo. Dude, sumo wrestling's, it's legit to watch, to be honest, because you're seeing like these two like massive size of fucking people just going head to head. Boom. It's like two rams going at it at the same time, like at full force. If you guys haven't watched a sumo match, watch a sumo match because there's a lot of skill and a lot of grappling and wrestling involved in there. They do a lot of clinch work and clinch throws in sumo wrestling that's really interesting to check out. And me, having wrestled like half my life, I enjoy watching sumo because I'm seeing little techniques that I learned from wrestling and they're being applied in sumo wrestling. So I just enjoy a good scrap, man. And I think the problem we see sometimes with boxing fans and MMA fans is they go at it head to head. And I see boxing and MMA like related in the same family of combat sports. They're like cousins, and you got love for your own cousins, you know, and I think fans should support both, not both, all combat sports, because a fight's a fight. A fight's a good fight, you know? Who doesn't enjoy a good scrap? Eric Cruz, have you ever gotten in the ring and traded leather? Yeah, actually I have, Eric. I used to spar a lot when I first started training in boxing about 6 years ago. Now I'm not able to spar as much because of work, and then honestly, both my hands are messed up. I don't know, I think I fractured or I did something with this hand. Had a pop fall on my hand, and then my knuckles like busted on this hand from, I don't know, probably not wrapping the right way. Or no, I'm lying. Not wrapping at all and using the gloves. So, but hopefully my hands heal and I'm able to go ahead and train again. All right. Whoa, you guys are put a lot of comments in here. All right. Okay. I'm gonna try to get to all your guys' comments. Okay. Give me a second. Let's see here. Mo Ash, what's going on with Amir Khan? You think keep hearing, looking for an opponent December? Hey Mo, type a little slower. I think what you're trying to get at is we keep hearing he's looking for an opponent for December, but nothing's coming through. Me personally, I haven't heard anything on the side of Amir Khan news in terms of a concrete opponent. When I hear something, I'll go ahead and tweet it out and let you guys know. But he's been out of the ring for a very long time. I know he was supposed to get in the ring, supposedly with Manny. That fell through, and then he had other fights lined up, and they just didn't happen as well. So we'll see what Amir does, but certainly Amir's a guy that I've always enjoyed fighting. You know, when you see an Amir Khan fight, it's always an interesting fight. It's always an exciting fight because he's vulnerable. You know, at some point he can get hurt, and he is susceptible to getting hurt. But also, too, you know, Amir Khan fights his ass off, man. He fights his ass off. He has an exciting style. He's not scared to trade with his opponents as well. And it always makes for a good fight. You know, the fight that he had with Algieri, he got hurt, stunned a little bit in that first round. You know, and then the other fights that he's had with other people, they're always good, exciting fights. So I'm a big fan of Amir. I like watching Amir. And Amir has big heart because he's never shied away from a challenge or shied away from fighting somebody as well. James S. Oh, no, hold up. Scrap Chat Boxing. Marcos, what's good with it? What's up, Scrap Chat? Thanks for tuning in with us over here. James S. Hey, Fight Up. Those two judges investigated, yes. Last I've heard is that the promoters have talked to Bob Bennett of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, and there's still an ongoing process. I guess there's a review over Adelaide Bird, but outside of that, I'm not sure what else has been going on in terms of if they're going to revamp their whole judging process, if they're going to review other judges. I know some people did have a problem with one of the judges scoring round 7 to Canelo instead of Golovkin, saying that that was a clear Golovkin round in that fight. So I haven't heard anything on that instance. I think it's a hard thing, though, because there's not a national federal commission. You have 50 state athletic commissions that more or less follow a loose set of rules when they have championship fights, which is when they follow the unified rules. But these commissions appoint judges that they approve. Obviously, they send a list to promoters, and promoters can petition against a certain judge if they have a problem with the judge. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the state commissions are going to listen to those promoters about if they want to judge on or off a card, because they're saying so. Ultimately, it's up to them. They answer to themselves. They what's the right word? They police themselves internally. There's not an outside agency that's policing them as well, which can lead to a lot of ineptness, which we've seen in these fights with judging. So it's a screwed up thing because you got 50 state commissions that have their own MOs, and for a promoter to go to every single one of those 50 state commissions and ask for a review, it's extremely complicated. I think the only way to go around that would be the establishment of a federal commission in which regions of the United States are broken into territories, much like a corporation. You know, a corporation has, you know, 2 VPs or 1 VP, but that VP, he has, you know, 5 other managers that are reporting to that VP based on geographic regions of the United States, West, Central, East. And I think maybe that could be a way, if a federal commission's ever made, in which that all these commissions could be grouped into like the Western region of commissions, the Midwestern region of commissions, the Eastern Western of commissions, where they all report to these government agencies that report to the National Commission. But it makes it really hard to have oversight and for the promoters. And honestly, I don't think the promoters should have such direct involvement with these commissions, to be honest, too, as well, because there could be an MO there for them to get judges that are favorable to their fighters as well. So it's a whole messy situation, guys. Whole messy. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. If you guys are just coming in here right now, I want to welcome you to this live chat. Doing it a little bit different. Live here from my couch. Yes, where I'm like 5 seconds delayed. So I can't even hear myself talking at all, which is really strange. And yeah, it's really weird. I'm using a new software, new camera. So I want to thank you guys, and excuse me. It's funny, I'm just seeing myself just right now all delayed. But all right, let's get back to your guys' questions, guys. And thank you for tuning in. Let's see here. Just reading some of your questions, and I'm going to pick the most interesting ones, or ones where I could talk a little bit about it in general. So let's see here. One Boxing King 1, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Damn, you got to be so nice, Paul. What do you mean so nice about what? I don't know what you're talking about, man. Okay, let's see here. Danny the Great. Okay, Danny, that's your opinion. When we were calling Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez #1 pound for pound, it was during a time period where consensusly, not just me, but everybody else was calling him pound for pound #1, which is about a year ago. But even then, I still personally, honestly, I went on record to say that I didn't think Roman was #1 pound for pound. I thought Andre Ward was. And then maybe after him, Roman. I actually went on Sirius XM and explained why I felt Andre Ward was pound for pound #1 during that time. Jacobs versus Canelo. Hopefully we get it. First off, it'd be a very excellent fight. But Canelo and Triple G got to go ahead and face each other first in this rematch that's being targeted for May of 2018. But in that fight, I like Canelo's chances, honestly, because Canelo's fast. I think Canelo is technically a little bit more sound than Jacobs in terms of his punches. So I think it'd be a very competitive fight, Daniel Jacobs versus Canelo Alvarez. Yes, Keith Thurman is recovering from surgery, Emmanuel. Okay, let's see here. Danny the Great, like I said, you have your opinion, and I just explained to you what I felt about Andre Ward. Wilder versus Briggs. I don't think Briggs can fight. He got popped for steroids, so I think, and this wasn't the first violation. I want to say the third or maybe the second. And once you get a second or third, you usually have a suspension for 2 years or more when that happens. So let's see here. Briggs is banned right now. You see, Emmanuel knows what's up. Okay, appreciate your guys' feedback back and forth in the chat. Just remember, man, keep it respectful, guys. We're all fight fans here. I like opening up this part of the chat section to good back and forth debate. But come on, guys, just be respectful of each other. We're all fam here. We're all part of this community as well. So let's just keep it respectful. James asks, hey Marcos, the judges who scored for Gennady Golovkin getting investigated. Or I think if you mean if they are getting investigated, from what I know, they had a chat. I don't know if they're being investigated, but the head of the Nevada State Athletic Commission did bring it up to Adelaide Bird, and she's sitting out the rest of the year, though. I don't know what happens after that. I don't know. I think, when something like that, it should be like a job. And if your performance suffers at a job, you get a warning. Or even if you're a professional athlete, if you start having subpar performances, you get knocked off to the B squad. And then from the B squad, you got to work your way back up to the A squad. I think it should be the same way with referees and judges. If you mess up once, okay, give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you had a bad night. You keep messing up consecutively. I can't even talk. Consecutively, you need to get bumped. You're back on the bench, man, and you need to be reviewed. And I think that's what should happen with these judges. Okay, did you think Gennady Golovkin beat Canelo from Candy Mendoza? Live, when I saw the fight, and I wasn't ringside, I was kind of like in the middle. I missed a lot of punches. It was kind of hard to see from where I was at. And even there, when I was kind of scoring it, I had it a draw. But I felt, even there, even with that, I felt overall that Gennady won the fight. I felt if the fight were to be scored as a whole, not round by round, but as a whole, that Gennady, won the fight. Now, I just realized something. I realized I could put in my headphones and I could totally hear myself. But when I watched the fight on a replay, I had the fight 7-5 for Gennady Golovkin. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and try this out. Throw on my headphones so I could hear myself clearly and what I'm saying. And also, so I can better communicate with you guys. So give me 1 second, all right? Give me just one second. And if anyone from Beats is watching, hey, sponsor me. Because I rock your equipment, even though I think you overcharge for your equipment, to be honest. So, I'm going to put on these headphones here. Back at it. Back to the questions. Let's see. See if I can hear anything. No, I guess not. Well, that failed. All right. All right, let's get back to you guys' questions. Let's see here. MR Vacation. Have you ever tried steroids? Oh, God. All right. No, I've never tried steroids, man. I have friends who've tried steroids. I have friends that are still on steroids. And I can tell they're on steroids or on HGH because there's no way you're like older than me and you look better than me. You know, and you got to understand something too. Like you got to know when you look at someone that they look natural. And then there's like little things that you could tell in a person when they look natural and when they don't look natural when they're doing PEDs or steroids and stuff like that. You know, a body is not naturally super vascular. So when you see someone who's like vascular like crazy, that's a red flag. You know, when you always got to look at, and granted, you know, the ancient Greeks, when you look at the Greek and Roman statues, those guys were cut up, but they weren't like overly huge, overly muscular. You know, they were normal. It looked natural, it looked proportional. So that's the thing, you know. If it doesn't pass the eye test for you, then you probably think something's up in terms of someone taking something. So, but no, never took steroids. It's a lot of tuna and chicken when I was working out. Okay, I'm scrolling through you guys' questions. All right, so give me a second. If you guys are just tuning in, hello. Welcome to a different version of our live stream. Usually it's on the phone, mobile, where your guys' questions are popping up in front of me. Right now is this live chat, so I'm seeing what you guys are saying. All right, so I'm gonna pick a good question. Scrap Chat Boxing. Marcos, any word on a new Fight Night game? I'm getting desperate, man. I almost bought the UFC the other day. No, you know what? I'm bummed out because I missed E3, and I wanted to go to E3 to go find someone from EA and ask him, like, hey, what the heck's the deal with the Fight Night? When you guys come back with Fight Night. But you know what? Because you asked that, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this right now on my notepad because I do think I still have the email of the exec producer over at EA who was in charge of the UFC game. So I'm going to write a note right now. Email EA guy Fight Night. So I'm going to email him, and I'm going to get that update for you and see if he responds. So that's in the to-do list. So I'm looking out for you, Scrap Chat. All right, let's see what else, you guys. Someone's putting here Guillermo Rigondeaux, #1 pound for pound. You can make an argument for that, to be honest. You know, Rigondeaux has skills so far that people haven't been able to match in terms of his opponents. And this is a great fight with Lomachenko, though. Of course, when you get someone, say, okay, here's the example I'll use for that fight. When you have a guy, similar skills, you guys are like this, skills-wise, but the main difference is the guy right here is a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger than you. That's a natural advantage fighter A has over fighter B. And I think that's what we have here with this Lomachenko and Rigondeaux fight. We could all end up being fooled into believing that they're the same when Fight Night will show us that one or the other fighter is actually way more skilled than we thought they were compared to the other guy. But it remains to be seen. There's a lot of questions there to see how skilled these guys are compared to each other, who has the more skills, and who's more versatile. We could all speculate which guy or the other is more versatile, who's better, whose style will make the other guy capitulate to them inside the ring, but we won't know till December. I am planning on going to that fight. It's going to be a great fight. And I think, you know, a big factor in the fight will be size. But the other thing, too, a big factor, I think, in the fight will be the type of fight Lomachenko uses to fight. I think, just looking at the styles, we're going to see a Rigondeaux that's going to move a lot, box, hit, and not get hit. And we're going to see a Lomachenko coming forward and try to cut off the ring. And that, to me, is going to be very interesting because there's going to be a lot of just high-level thinking, both these guys thinking not just one punch ahead, 3 punches ahead, 3 moves ahead. See, okay, if I throw this punch, I know he's going to throw this punch, and I got to move this way. You know, it's going to be a lot of that, a lot of traps being set. So that's why I am interested in the fight. Zanul Zalar, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your question. We talked a little bit about Amir Khan earlier. I think definitely he should have a tune-up fight. I don't think he should go into a big pay-per-view type match, to be honest, because he's been a year off, and I think he needs needs a few wins, I think, to just regain that confidence in himself and in his ability to take a punch and take damage as well. Who do you got next for Errol Spence? Asked Rizzo. That's a good question. Not sure. I know he was talking a little about Jeff Horn for a certain time, but Jeff Horn just got a fight announced for him. That's a very interesting question. In terms of the PBC guys, when you look at the picture, who are the other guys at welterweight that would make an interesting fight for Errol Spence? There's Porter, but Porter's the mandatory for Thurman. Thurman's the champ. Thurman theoretically could pay step-aside money to Sean Porter to go ahead and fight Errol Spence for unification. There's Terrence Crawford, but I highly doubt Terrence Crawford will go into a fight with Thurman, even though I'm not saying that he wouldn't fight Thurman right away, because I know he will. I doubt that Top Rank would want to go that route to throw him in there with someone like Errol Spence right now. I think they could build up that fight, and it would be a huge, huge fight. There's Collazo. There's Sammy Vasquez. There's quite a few guys that he could fight in the PBC stables, but I'm not really sure. You know, we haven't heard anything from Sammy Vasquez in a long time. We haven't heard anything from Luis Collazo in a long time. Victor Ortiz is out there. I guess they can make a matchup with Spence and Victor Ortiz. So let's see here. X-Scorpion77. Do you practice boxing yourself? Yeah, I do actually. I do to stay in shape, not to compete or spar or anything, just because I hate doing cardio. I cannot stand doing cardio in the gym. I can't stand running on a treadmill in the gym. It drives me nuts. And boxing is the only way where I don't go nuts and start thinking and asking a million questions. And I suffer like ADD when I'm running. Like I'll just get bored running on the treadmill. So I need to do boxing or wrestling or something to keep my mind preoccupied when I'm doing cardio. MR Vacation, you're funny, man. Let's see here. Guillermo Lopez, any idea where Vaughn Alexander versus Elvin Ayala might be shown? No, man, I haven't heard anything about that. I know Vaughn Alexander is Devin Alexander's brother. I know he was in jail for a while. He signed to main events. Every time I see her, Kathy Duva always tells me to check out Vaughn and is always talking to me about Vaughn. He's certainly a prospect that they value very highly. I've seen his fights. He's a good, solid fighter, and I'm excited to see what he shows, what he can do in the future. Yeah, Tom Smith. Yeah, for sure. We need a fight night game, man. Big time. It's how many years has it been? I think I have the last one, and the last one came out like 5 years ago. Emmanuel Charles doesn't think that Lomachenko's that strong. Said it's going to be interesting to see, man. Extremely interesting to see how that dynamic plays out between the two, because you could say he's a small right now, a very small 130. So which makes the weight discrepancy. He's still a weight class above him. So he's still bigger than him, even though not by that much. So maybe we're thinking too much into it. Maybe he's not really bigger and stronger than we are thinking he is, because of him being already a small, lightweight fighter. How did you experience the Angel Garcia interview? Says Liquid Crack. Hope you're not on Liquid Crack, man. What is it? Liquid Crack? What would be Liquid Crack? That's not like heroin, is it? I don't know. Some of you guys have some weird handles, man. Some of you guys have some really strange ones. That Angel Garcia interview. I know everybody asked me about it. And let me just adjust this real quick. You know what? I'm going to make a separate thing about that, because it's a long observation I have about that whole week and that day in particular, because that interview happened the first day of fight week. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to do a whole separate video, because I have very interesting observations, and I still have very, very vivid memories about everything. And I have a lot of backstory that I think contributed to the way, or not to the way, to what happened. Even though me and Angel are cool. I like Angel. I think he's hilarious. He's a funny guy. And honestly, that guy's super passionate about his kids. He freaking would die for his kids. And it's something to be admired about, the amount of passion that he has for Danny and his children. It's something that I admire, to be honest. He's a good dude. And I think sometimes he says stuff, not sometimes, a lot of it's a good amount of, he says things that are not politically correct. He says things that will offend people. Honestly, he reminds me of like your old grandparent that doesn't have a filter. And here's the other thing too, guys. You get to a certain age where like you just don't care about what people think anymore. You're going to say whatever the heck you feel. You're tired of taking people's crap. You're not going to put up with BS anymore. And you're just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to say whatever comes to my mind. I'm done dealing with people's BS. And it happens at various ages for people. And for me, it happened just 2 years ago, where I was just like, you know what, I'm too old for this crap. I'm not gonna pull up with people's BS. I'm not gonna be as nice as I am. I'm gonna, if something's bothering me, I'm gonna say it's bothering me. So that's what happens. Let's see. That's soda, according to Bernard. Oh man. Okay. You guys are funny. Jorge Torres, Miguel Cotto versus Mikey Garcia. Excellent fight. I think that's a great fight. Mikey Garcia is in training camp right now. I know Robert did a Instagram post in which he said that camp has just started. That's a great fight. And you know what? People are making a lot about the size difference, but I don't think Cotto's that much bigger than Mikey Garcia, to be honest. Miguel Cotto's maybe like an inch taller and a little bit inch of a reach advantage, but in terms of size, when you run into Miguel Cotto in person, not a big guy. He was a small welterweight, and he's at 154, so he's an even smaller 54. And when I look at Mikey and Cotto, I don't see that much of a difference, to be honest, in terms of size. So, I don't know. I think we might be looking into the size difference in that fight a little bit too much, to be honest. Emmanuel Charles asks, Why do you think Andrade is not getting the big fights? Well, first off, he's very good. Extremely difficult opponent, extremely difficult style. People don't want to fight him. The other part is the risk reward factor. He doesn't have that big of a name. And if he does fight someone at this point, he's going to have to fight someone with the name is going to have to fight him given his rankings in the sanctioning bodies. And they're going to look at it as, okay, this guy has zero name. I have a very high possibility of losing because this guy's legit. I got to look at my risk reward factor. And I think a lot of the times people are passing over Demetrius, which is a shame because I think he should be a bigger star than he is, given the success he's had in the amateurs and given that he's a legit fighter. He has a lot of skills. But they're overlooking him because of that. No one wants to fight this guy because, in all likelihood, it's a bad style matchup, and some of these guys might end up losing to him as well. So I think that's what's happening with that. For the love of fighting, I love boxing. So do we, man. That's why we're all here. Thoughts on Eddie Hearn in the U.S. now, asked Tom Smith. I think it's great. He's going to bring in and do things differently. And it's going to only make the everything for the better. It's like when new competition enters the marketplace, they always innovate. It always causes other competitors to go and innovate and up their product, up their creativity. We've seen it time and time again with products, with companies, with TV shows, with everything in general. So I think it's a good thing. Bilal A, the earth is flat. Yeah, I'm going to leave that at there. Now I'm going to get into it with these flat earther peoples. So I'm thinking that these live chats are a lot different than the mobile live chats. Do me a favor, guys. How did you guys find out about the live chat? Let me know if you guys got a notification, if something popped up on your dashboard. Did you get an email? Let me know. Send me a comment right now to see, because I'm still tinkering between the live streams from the laptop and the live streams from my phone. So let me know how you guys heard about the live stream as well. Just want to let you guys know we got a ton of stuff up on the YouTube channel right now. We got interviews with Bernard Hopkins talking about the Canelo-Golovkin rematch. Him saying that he thinks Canelo will be Andre Ward and Golovkin will be Kovalev in this rematch. And the rematch will be very similar to Ward Kovalev 2, with Canelo actually knocking out Gennady Golovkin. I still am. I'm going to release the Vitaly Klitschko interview in a little bit right now, in which Vitaly says that he feels guilty about the Joshua fight for his brother, because he told his brother to not be as aggressive the next round after he had knocked down Joshua, and that he felt that, but he feels that he could knock out Anthony Joshua. I'm going to look at our list right now of uploads that we've done to let you guys know exactly what we have on the channel right now. So we have interviews with Regis Prograis. Regis talking about a fight with Terence Crawford, and he feels that he'd give Terence Crawford a hell of a fight. We have Victor Postol talking about a potential fight with Regis Prograis and a rematch with Terence Crawford. We got clips from the Jacobs versus Arias press conference. We got Tony Bellew talking about his rematch with David Haye. We got the press conference with Haye and Bellew. We got this crazy manager of Yildirim going off at Chris Eubank's entourage. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit. You can see what happened right now on youtube.com/FightHub. So at this press conference with Chris Eubank and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, Anvil or Avnil Yildirim, somewhere I think in Germany. They had a press conference, and this dude's, I think his manager or his trainer, just pops off at someone from Eubank's team and starts yelling at him, starts cursing at him, says he's gonna bang his mom in his bed, and gets in the guy's face, and created this whole scene, and it was just kind of weird because Eubank's just sitting there like, okay, like what the heck's going on, and So is his fighter as well. The other guy that he's going to fight, he's kind of like, what the heck, you know? And talk about adding unadded stress towards your fighter a few days away from their fight. They don't need that shit. They don't got time for that, you know? So very weird. We also got an interview with So Rongvinsai talking about fights with the Inoue and Gallo Estrada. Bernard Hopkins, Brandon Rios is on the channel as well. Evander Holyfield saying the judges got it wrong in that Canelo versus Golovkin fight. Tom Loeffler talking about the rematch. And boxing legend Michael Spinks talking about how to slip a jab from an opponent that has a very, very good jab. Those are all up right now on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/FightHub. The other thing I wanted to kind of touch about quickly was Chris Cyborg and Holly Holm. Excellent fight. I want to see that fight. That's a great fight. They're talking about it potentially happening at the end of the year UFC card. And then I'm seeing little news bits that they offered Chris Cyborg less money for this fight than her title fight with Evinger. Don't know what's going on. Don't know a lot about the situation, but I think if that is true, we haven't heard or got any response from Dana White about the particulars of that. So, you know, we've only heard one side of the story. We got to hear the other side of the story first to kind of come to a conclusion about what's going on. But I think it's a shame if they are doing that because she is the world champion. She should have a certain level of pay being a champion, and honestly she's the best female fighter in the world right now at this point in either sport, in my opinion. She's the most complete and the best fighter, and she's dominated her division for not 10 years, but very close to 10 years. I want to say 7 or 8 years, for a very, very, very long time. Been untouched. Yes, she's messed up in the past with positive tests, but she's clean now. She gets tested all the time, so I think that shows a lot about her and her character, not only owning up to what she did wrong, but making amends with it and doing it right, getting tested with VADA all the time. But I'm seeing Cyborg tweeted about an hour ago about it, and I think it'd be a great fight. And I think if there's one person that could give Cyborg a challenge, a legit challenge, it is Holly Holm, given her experience not only with boxing in her pro boxing career, being a world champion, but also her experience in kickboxing. It's a very good style matchup for both fighters, and that fight will be fought standing up. And Holly Holm is a counterpuncher, and you know Cyborg comes forward, so that's a perfect matchup for her in terms of wanting to get her shots off, landing shots, because if you look at styles, and over history you've seen this, when you see a counterpuncher fight a guy who's overly aggressive, the advantage usually tilts towards the counterpuncher because they have more to work with. It falls into their style. Case in point, Manny Pacquiao against Juan Manuel Marquez. Marquez was always able to have success against Manny Pacquiao because Manny Pacquiao gave Marquez the ability, the opportunity to land counterpunches on him. Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather against a lot of his opponents. You know, he was able to land a lot of good counter shots because a lot of his opponents would come right after him. And it allowed him to see openings there because they were so aggressive to land punches. Holly Holm could take advantage of that in this Chris Cyborg fight. And I think she can have a really good chance of winning. So I want to see it. I hope they're able to make that fight happen. I hope they come to an agreement of some sort. I know Cyborg was interested in having a boxing fight. I think she even applied for a license to have a boxing fight. So I've interviewed and I met Cyborg on numerous occasions. A great person as well. So I hope that fight does get made at some point, and especially for that year-end UFC card. So I'm going to read a little bit more of your questions. If you're tuning in, we've been on our live stream here for about 50 minutes already. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and going ahead and watching us as well. A few more questions, and I'll go ahead and end this little experiment on the webcam as opposed to my phone, even though I like the phone a little bit better, to be honest. Tom Smith, just through subscription. So this live stream just pops up on your subscription feeds. It doesn't pop up on through email, like when I do um, the mobile broadcast. So let me know how you're getting notifications about the stream, if it's through subscription or if you're getting a physical message through email. That's very important for me to know. Did you, Tom Smith? Thanks for asking another question. Jeez, man, I'm like, I'm getting over a cold, guys, so I'm just like all retarded right now in my speech. Don't know what I'm saying. Nunez might be the only girl strong enough to stay in there with Cyborg and Holly. Footwork beats Cyborg, in my opinion. You think Cyborg, Emmanuel, beats Holly, or Holly beats Cyborg? Lame Nerd Lane got it through the subscription tab. Okay. Man, I wonder why this isn't sending an email to you guys. I think it should. T-Rex tore Cyborg apart in sparring. But sparring's completely different than a fight. Jorge Torres, Anthony Johnson versus Brock Lesnar in December. No. You know what? I have no interest in seeing Brock Lesnar fight, to be honest. Just given the drug test result that happened with Mark Hunt, I just don't have an interest. I've never felt... I don't think you should support cheaters, to be honest. Stating it blankly, you know, and he has that result. It never got cleared up. He never really said anything about it. So, no, I don't want to see that fight, to be honest. And I'm very surprised Anthony Johnson's back. I thought he was in the weed business, but I guess not, you know. It's hard as a fighter to retire from fights. It's extremely difficult. You say you're going to retire, and then you get that itch, get the fire in the belly that hasn't been out yet, and you go and you continue to fight. I'm just reading your guys' questions here. Appreciate it for you guys that have stuck on for the live chat. It's a bummer because when we do the live chats through mobile, we get a lot more people here. And this one, because it's just through the subscription button, I take it that people aren't getting notifications through email. It's just through the subscription button. So obviously we're not getting as many viewers tuning in as normally we do on mobile. Okay, Bruce, true Marcos, hand clap. Yep, I agree. Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo. Tom, man, you're asking all the questions. It's a great fight. I think Canelo wins. I think Canelo's just in his prime right now, just a little bit too much for Billy Joe Saunders. Maybe the southpaw style Saunders might give Canelo a little bit of trouble. Saunders is he's a good, solid middleweight, but I think Canelo's just too fast for him. In his prime, I just see the combinations landing for Canelo against Saunders. I don't think Saunders is mobile enough to give Canelo problems. I think Saunders will be obliged to stay in there in the pocket with Canelo, and I think that suits Canelo's fight as well. King Dilla Clark asked me, what do you think of Edwin Valero? And Steve Saldivar asked me, who's winning the World Boxing Series at Cruiserweight? At Cruiserweight, the final is going to be Usyk versus Gassiev. I really think that's going to be the Cruiserweight finals for that. And you know what? I like Gassiev. I really like Gassiev. I think the performances that Usyk has had, they've been good, but I think just Gassiev has that game changer and that power. Just one punch. You're just one punch away from getting knocked the F out from a guy like that. And, you know, he's not that bad of a boxer. Though, now that I really think about it, I could totally see Usyk just outboxing the guy. Like crazy outboxing him. If Usyk chooses to just box, purely just box, jab, move. See, I'm playing the fight in my head right now. I think he would beat Gassiev easily. You know, Gassiev's going to have to press, and he's going to be looking for that one shot. It's going to be great. I think that's one of the fights I'm looking forward to. I know the super middleweights, people are hoping that it's going to be Eubank and Caleb Smith. That's another fight that I'm looking forward to as well. I know Smith's next fight, I think, is George Groves. Might be incorrect on that, though, so let me know if that is the next fight, because I've been casually following the Super Series, the World Boxing Super Series, because it's been very hard to get a right feed to be able to watch them. Someone asked me about Edwin Valero, and I wanted to touch on Edwin Valero. I think it was, let's see here, I'm looking at your guys' questions. It was King de Leclerc. You got to put the French part, King de Leclerc. That was a terrible accent, I know. But Edwin Valero, man, this guy, if you never heard of Edwin Valero, or you're a new fan of boxing, or if you're an MMA fan just by chance watching the stream, Edwin Valero was a huge puncher, a monstrous puncher. Was very aggressive, would come forward, was undefeated in his 28 fights. I believe he had like 27 stoppages, and he started getting this momentum, this cult-like fan following around him, very similar to what was happening with Manny Pacquiao. And actually, Manny and Valero were circling each other, and there was talk after Valero, his final fight, which was against Antonio DeMarco in Mexico, that these two were on a collision course to fight. And that fight would have been a tremendous fight, because Valero came forward, could punch. Manny came forward, could punch, and threw multiple punches. And Valero is just really just a tragic case, man. It's just a tragic case of everything that could go wrong, went wrong, and spiraled out of control in terms of a personal life for an athlete. If you guys that aren't too familiar with Valero, this guy, I'll give you a little bit of background, and it leads into what eventually happened with Valero. So Valero, at some point in the mid part of his career, got in a motorcycle accident, cracked his head. He couldn't get licensed anymore in the United States to fight because of the cracked brain. He had like a cracked skull. He could get licensed internationally, and they said that I think they put a plate in his head or something like that. But he just could not get licensed here in the United States. No one would license him. I think at a certain point, Texas did mention that they would license him for a fight. And that's where the whole Manny thing started coming in. So he would fight internationally. So it was very hard to, but it was very hard for U.S. fans to see Edwin Valero fight, because he would fight internationally because of that. Now, how that leads into what happened. So Edwin Valero had a lot of personal problems, would drink a lot, had anger issues. Something happens with his wife. There ends up being a murder. He's accused of it, charged of it. They say that he did the murder, and then he goes to jail. The next week, or in the next few weeks, he kills himself in jail. I think he hung himself. And it just left people shocked. How could this happen? Why? And still to this day, no one knows why it happened. And a lot of people have made or try to make a correlation that maybe it had to do with the brain injuries. They're also speculating as well that maybe Valero suffered from CTE, from the effects of years and years of taking punches to the head, and associating that maybe with the accident that he had as well. No one knows. But Valero is just a tragic case of what could have been. And it's just, he could have been so much. He would have been a big star in boxing if what had happened didn't happen. And it's just a very tragic story. I believe there's a documentary on the events that happened with Valero as well. And it's just very, very tragic. Valero had a lot of promise. If he would have fought Manny Pacquiao, it would have been a huge fight. Who knows who would have won that fight? It would have been a very even fight. Me personally, when they started talking about that, when they announce fights, I always try to picture them in my head and see how the styles are and see how one person fights and the other. And I kind of formulate a fight in my head and see how it plays out. And I think Manny would have probably won the fight because Valero moved in a straight line, back and forth, back and forth. And I think Manny, with his lateral movement, would have caught Valero a lot. But here's the thing. Valero would have landed on Manny because Manny gets hit a lot. And Valero just had a hellacious punch where all it took was one punch from him
to put you out. And that's what makes fights like that one and other fights like Canelo versus Golovkin so damn intriguing, is because they just got to land that one punch that completely can change the outcome of a fight. But overall, a very tragic situation that happened with Edwin Valero. Extremely tragic. Let's see what else you guys are saying here. This is live chat. Once again, thank you guys for tuning in. A little bit low energy. I apologize, guys. Just getting over a cold as well, too. So I'm just kind of like barely getting over it. Who do you believe can move from 160 to 168 and maintain their success? Well, you got to see the players at 160 pounds right now. You got Golovkin, you got Canelo, you got Jacobs, you got Jamal Charlo, who just moved up. I think all those guys would have success, but to degrees of success. I think Canelo, if he moved up to 168, he would be undersized. Matches would be a little bit more difficult, but I could see him beating a lot of guys there. Golovkin would lose his size advantage that he enjoys at middleweight, moving up to 168, though I think he has the skills to beat a majority of the guys at 168 pounds. And he would enjoy, I think he could win a title very easily at 168 pounds. Daniel Jacobs is a very big middleweight. He would have great success at 168 pounds. Who's the other guy? Saunders at 168, I think would do well. But I think out of all the guys, Jamal Charlo would do the best. Jamal Charlo is a very huge 160-pounder. And I think he would do the best out of all of them because of the skills that he has. He's an extremely good boxer. And I think those skills, the skills stay with you. And the skills that he has, I don't see anybody currently at 168 that has the skills that Jamal Charlo has. So I think he'd do very well at 168 pounds. Okay, someone's telling me Smith's next fight is not George Groves. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about coughing. Oh, man. Now you guys are asking me these weird questions. I'm going to refrain. John Cena versus Anthony Joshua. OG, triple OG. Dude, Anthony Joshua can't see John Cena. He can't see him. No contest. TKH2, very true, man. Valero was on the come up. All right, guys, I think I'm going to end it. I wanted to do this for an hour just to test it out, and we completed the hour. Thank you so much for staying with us and tuning in. Still debating. You can't see me. My time is now. Yeah, you can. Time is now, son. And my time is now to go ahead and end this. So go ahead. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to grab my phone right now. I want all you guys that are here right now, that are live with us, or seeing this recorded, delayed, or just at a later time, grab your phones, all right? And go to @FightHubTV on Instagram and on Twitter @FightHubTV. Give us a follow. Here we go. Look, I'm seeing if it's coming out. I don't know if it's going to come out, but right here, give us a follow. @FightHubTV. Give me a follow as well at Hey It's Marcos V. If you guys are watching this, you're subscribed, but go ahead and please tell your friends that our fans, casual fans, would enjoy our content for boxing, MMA, combat sports. So go ahead and subscribe to us. Really, really appreciate it, guys. If you would do that and help us keep growing. Really appreciate the support and the following you guys have showed us over the years as well. So I'm going to write our handles right now so you guys can go ahead and follow us on our social media. For Instagram, I'm just typing and chatting out loud. And then mine as well. Follow me. I love reading your guys' comments too. You guys are funny, man. You guys crack me up. Steve Saldivar, I'm giving you the honor, all right, of asking one more question, bro. So this question better be good, all right? So your time is now. ask the question, and that will be the final question. Steve Saldivar will have the final question. So I'm going to wait for you to put the question down here while I read all your guys' comments. OG Triple OG, peace. Emmanuel Charles, thank you for typing questions and staying with us. Roman Nikitenko, thank you, man. Scrap Chat Boxing, appreciate the support, man. I know you guys always tune into our stuff. Thank you so much. Jorge Torres, I appreciate it, Jorge. James Bra, thank you so much. Salute to you. Where are you, Steve? Steve, did Steve sign off? Steve, man, I was giving you the last question, but you took off. So, all right, we're going to do a thing. Who wants to get the last question in? You guys throw in the last question. I'm going to go ahead and answer one more, but it better be a good one. I'm going to pick the best one, so go ahead and throw a last question. TKH2. Got to do more live. I'm trying to, man. This shit's hard. Like, I'm doing it on mobile, and I get a ton more people on mobile, but mobile sends notifications to the emails. I try to do it here on a new webcam because I want to do gaming streaming as well and other streaming, and this freaking webcam doesn't work. I'm hearing that I got to have a PC in order for it to work better because all the software doesn't work too well on a Mac. It's complicated. So let's see here. All right. I guess the last question is going to go. Oh, what up, Denver? Mile High City. Mile High. Wait, what is Mile High? 303? That's the area code, right? 303. All right. Here's the last question, and it's going to go. I'm going to give you guys a few more seconds because I think I picked the last question. All right. Gotta get my fix real quick. Last question is gonna go. Yeah, at 303. Last question is gonna go to Roman Nikitenko. Am I saying your name right, dude? Nikitenko? Yeah, Nikitenko. Roman Nikitenko. Can Guillermo Rigondeaux hurt Vasily Lomachenko? When you look at a fight, guys, you guys gotta realize this. I know we hyperanalyze fights. We look at speed, technique, size, how a guy will do it style-wise. But at the end of the day, it's important to realize that we're watching a fight. And a fight's a fight. Anybody at any given time can win a fight because they throw a punch and it happens to land. We've seen it time and time and time again. This right here is the same for every single person living on Earth. It can only take a certain amount of pressure and you will get knocked out. Ishida versus James Kirkland. Ishida, no power whatsoever, knocks out James Kirkland. Hits him flush right here with the perfect punch. It can happen to anybody. Happened to Paul Williams. Happened to Manny Pacquiao. Happened to Roberto Duran. Just the same amount of force for every single person living on Earth. Right here. Hit them right on the button and they will go regardless of how hard of a puncher you are. So when I look at that question and someone asks, Rigondeaux's small. Can this guy really hurt Vasily Lomachenko? Yes. Fight's a fight. At any given time, any one of those combatants can get hurt. They're all human. They can get caught with just the right punch at the right time. And we've seen it happen time and time again. And I think that's why boxing is so unexpected. Combat sports is so unexpected and so entertaining because there's always that factor, that little what if, that hooks you, that brings you in. When you really look at a fight and you're like, this guy should win, but I don't know. I got this weird feeling this guy's going to connect and land that punch. And we've seen it happen. I think that's what makes combat sports so great. Because right when you think you know all the answers, you don't. And you get surprised and you start asking different questions now. Because the answers you thought you knew get completely thrown out the window. So with that, thank you guys. I'm going to leave you to the rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week, a great weekend. I wish you nothing but good vibes, success, good times, happy times, like they say in Borat. And once again, please spread the word of our channel. Tell your friends about it to subscribe to us, to help us keep growing. And follow us on our social media at FightUpTV and at Hey, it's Marcos V. Vitaly Klitschko interview going up right now. As soon as I end this interview, I'm going to upload this for you guys. He talks about how he feels guilty about his brother losing to Anthony Joshua and how he feels that he would knock out. He said this. He felt that he would knock out Anthony Joshua. So this is going up right now. All right, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for tuning in to this Fight Up TV live chat. See you guys later. Thank you so much. And we're gone. We're out.